welcome back. Qatar's ruler has appointed a new prime minister, calling on an experienced diplomat who's helped the gas-rich Gulf state assert its political influence abroad. Let's get more details of Bloomberg's Madison Mills in Dubai. And Madison, a shake-up, a new prime minister. What do we know about him?
Yeah, this shakeup is big news, but I'm also going to fill us in on why this was a little bit expected. The new prime minister is Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani. He was the former chair of the Qatar Investment Authority, and he did a really good job in that role. The Emir is a fan, and that is one of the reasons that we are seeing this succession plan playing out. This is not super random, right? He was really helpful in negotiations with European countries on liquefied natural gas. There is a lack of capacity from Qatar right now, but that's kind of tied up in long-term contracts. But we are going to have that capacity later on, according to Qatar, heading into 2026. So he was really critical in those negotiations. He also helped the U.S. out a lot, and this was kind of my context coming into this story. President Biden is a fan because of his assistance in getting U.S. citizens out of Afghanistan in 2021. Biden called Qatar a major non-NATO ally following that. And this is also just part of a bigger foreign policy shift in terms of Qatar's goals moving forward. And that's one of the reasons, again, that we're seeing this shakeup and this succession of him towards that prime minister role.
Now, as you said, he was chair of the QIA, the Qatar Investment Authority. Who is stepping into that role then?
Yeah, so Sheikh Bandar is going to take on that role in the Qatar Investment Authority. That's the $450 billion sovereign wealth fund, like you mentioned, Haz. But the other thing here is that this isn't going to be a huge shift in investment strategy for the QIA. They're going to continue to have the same CEO, and they're also going to continue to move forward on those investment opportunities overseas, really looking to further some of the relationships that we've seen Qatar embrace following, negotiations when it comes to natural gas, like I was saying, and also, of course, the World Cup. So really moving forward into those investments in overseas opportunities.
And Madison, we have an update on the Abraj founder Arif Naqvi and his legal battles.
We do. Yeah, that's exactly right. Lawyers are saying for Arif Naqvi in the UK that there is fresh evidence of the deterioration of the prison in the United States that he would be extradited to following this case. The lawyers in the U.S. counter that, saying this is kind of just a ruse to bring in new arguments from Naqvi's lawyers. And I just want to back up and give our audience a reminder here. Naqvi is one of the world's biggest emerging market investors, at least he was previously, running a huge PE firm, one of the biggest in the Middle East. He argued for investment in emerging markets, specifically in the healthcare space and in hospitals in the region. And now we have these allegations that he misappropriated funds up to $1 billion from United States investors. And that's one of the reasons he faces up to 30 years in prison in the United States if this goes through.
Madison, thank you. That was Madison Mills taking us up to speed. Now let's get into Middle East markets with our equities reporter, Farah Al-Barawi. Farah, a different Abraj story here. How was the demand for the Omani oil drillers IPO?
Absolutely, Haslinda. Very different. Abraj is an oil driller from Oman coming to the market with the biggest listing in the nation since in a decade, actually, raising $244 million after pricing at the top end of the range with $2 billion of demand. Another sign of how strong investor appetite has been for different companies here in the region, not just from Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, but Oman as well, which is a smaller player. We do know that the pipeline is still deep in the nation as well. We know that different sectors, other than what the region is known for, the petrochemicals, that are going to start coming out from the country as well. It starts trading on March 14, just one day after ADNOC Gas was just also raised $2.5 billion for its own IPO, and it starts trading on March 13.
And Farah, over in Bahrain, we know that Investcorp mulling an IPO of one of its units. Do we know the details?
Absolutely. We know that Investcorp is mulling an IPO of its investment vehicle. That's according to people familiar with the matter. Bloomberg reported yesterday. It's working with banks including First Abu Dhabi Bank and Goldman Sachs at a potential listing in Abu Dhabi, though the details around whether that will be the final venue and whether the deal will actually go through is still a little bit pending. And we do know that it might happen as soon as this year. This is, very interesting because we did have a boom in alternative assets, and which is what Investcorp specializes in, throughout the past few decades. But that has fizzled with interest rates rising. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the demand is and what investors will ask of valuations with this kind of company will be a first of its kind in the region, focusing on stakes and Investcorp assets internationally as well as in the region.
All right, Farah Al-Barawi, thank you so much for that. Plenty more ahead. Keep it here with us. This is Bloomberg.